So when we are evaluating functions, this is the function we're talking about. They're saying if this x right here now becomes a 2, that means wherever you see an x in your function, it becomes a 2. This is where we're going over here, and we're saying now every x now is a 2. I substitute every x for a 2, and I simplify it, and I get 5. Part B, now they're saying that my new x, this is my new x, is now x plus 2. This x plus 2 is going to be substituted inside it every value of x. So now we're going to have, wherever I saw an x, now I'm going to have x plus 2. So this x became x plus 2 squared, which means x plus 2 times x plus 2. X plus 2 minus 1. You're going to FOIL this out, and you're going to get x squared plus 4x plus 4. And remove the parentheses, you get x plus 2 minus 1. You're going to combine your like terms. So 4x and x become 5x. Then we're going to combine our 4, our 2, and our negative 1, which become 5. So this is our solution for B. If you notice, for C, I have f of x plus 2, which is my answer that I found for B. So all I'm going to do is, wherever I see I would have fx plus 2, I'm going to just replace that answer because I already found it. So that becomes this piece right here. Minus, that minus is going to be very important. I have to distribute to everything in my f function, which is my original function they gave me. So make sure you put a parentheses there so you distribute to everything inside. This is where most people make a mistake. They only make the negative to the x squared, and they forget about the rest of the trinomial. So once you distribute that, you combine like terms and simplify on the numerator. You get 4x plus 6 equals 2. Since all these numbers are even, that means they're all divisible by 2. That means I'm going to factor out a 2, reduce it, and now I get 2x plus 3 as my answer. This one you guys got to do it by yourself, and then you just checked it with my work. So this was your function for in this case. And now you are finding a, which is h of 1. Again, this is your new x. Wherever you see an x, you substitute the value in there. You simplify 7 minus 5 times 1, which is 5. 7 minus 5 is 2. So that's your answer for A. For B, your new x is x plus 1. So now this x became x plus 1. You're going to distribute that negative 5 to everything inside the binomial. Once you get that, you're going to combine your like terms and write it in standard form, and that would be your answer. For C, if you notice, you have your f of h of x, which is your original equation, which is right here, and your h of 1, which we found it was in part 1, which is just 2, and the equation has a minus here. So you need to make sure that this minus, that's the part of the actual formula, even though this number is positive. This is where most people make a mistake. They put a plus 2 instead of the minus. This minus is the formula one. You're going to simplify the numerator. Once you simplify the numerator, if there's something you could factor out, in this case, if I factor out a negative 5 from both numerator numbers, I would be able to reduce the top and the bottom, and then I get, as my answer is just negative 5. So now we're actually doing the difference quotient, and the difference quotient is basically, we already did a couple of them, but you didn't know it was called the difference quotient yet, or if you did, you're ahead of the game. So basically, difference quotient means the difference of two functions, and the quotient is division. So this is literally called the difference quotient because it's the difference and a quotient. So what we're doing there, this is the function they gave us. In this case, I separated it into two pieces like we were doing before. And remember, h cannot equal 0 because then it would be undefined. So we're going to have, wherever I see an x, I'm going to put 5 plus h, and I did my work on this on the top right. I substituted, so I have 5 plus h squared plus 9, 5 plus h plus 6. I distributed that, I FOILed it out, and I got 25 plus 10h plus h squared. I multiplied the 9 times everything in the binomial, and I got 45 plus 9h, and round down to 6. I combine like terms on the numerator, on this equation, and then I got h squared plus 19h plus 76. Then I just found the f of 5. So wherever I had an x, I put a 5. So now I'm going to have 5 squared plus 9 times 5 plus 6. That's 25 plus 45 plus 6, which is 76. Again, this difference is part of the formula. This h is part of the formula. From my first part, the f of 5 plus h, this is what I got. So that was substituted in the first part. The f of 5, I got 76. So now it's going to be minus the 76 because of the formula. I combined like terms here, and I got h squared plus 19h. Since both numerators have an h in common, I'm going to take the greatest common factor out. And the numerator and the denominator, reduced. And my final answer was h plus 19. On this next problem, I did it as one whole piece. And again, you get to choose what way you want to work it on your assignments, on your quizzes. As long as you don't make any mistakes, you should be fine. So again, my first function, it was 4 plus h. Everywhere where I see an x on the function that was given to me, I'm going to substitute that value for my new x. So now I have 2 times 4 plus h minus 4 plus h squared because of that part right there. The minus is part of the formula. It's the difference part. And now f of 4 is going to be 2 times 4 minus 4 squared. Remember, it is very important you put parentheses there because you will be distributing this negative to everything that's inside if it's a binomial. If it's a monomial, then it'll be an easy multiplication. Okay, so then you distribute, you get 8 plus 2h, you FOIL out, and you're going to get 16 plus 8h plus h squared. And make sure you're going to also distribute that negative once you have FOILed it out. And you combine 8 minus 16, you get negative 8. And you know that negative 8 times a negative is a positive 8. This becomes negative 16. Negative times 8 is negative 8h. Negative times h squared is negative h squared. This is my new numerator. So we're going to combine our like terms on the top. These two are like terms. And these two with that 8 reduce with that or cancel out. That means you're going to have negative 6h minus h squared all over h. Since they both have an h, you're going to factor that out. These reduce, and you get your final answer to be negative 6 minus h or negative h minus 6. It is the same thing. It really doesn't matter. So this quadratic function is my new function. And this is my difference quotient that I'll be using where h is not equal to 0 again, because if it is, it will be undefined. My first x for my first function is 1 plus h. I substitute those values in that x squared and that x, and I got this right here. I substituted that 1 into this function, and I got this. I make sure that this negative is there. This is the part of the formula. I'm going to FOIL this out, multiply this out, and I got 1 plus 2h plus h squared for the FOILing. With distributing, I got negative 2h plus 6. And then right here, when I simplified, I got a 5. So this 5 times that negative makes it negative 5. I simplified and combined like terms, and I got h squared plus 5 minus 5 from that one. These two right here canceled out, and I got h squared over h. I reduce it, and I got h as my final answer for the difference quotient.